stopping by. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm Laurie. Today I'm participating in the monthly Useful DIY Challenge that is hosted by Moon from Momdas Life Handmade, and her co-host this month is Michelle from Michelle's Cozy Home. The requirements for this challenge are that you make something with a purpose, something useful and practical that you can use. Both of these women have amazing channels. They make beautiful home decor, and I'm going to link their channels below along with the playlist for this challenge. Now, let's go have some fun. Getting started, I'm using 6 of the 2-piece drawer boxes that I found in the craft section at the Dollar Tree. I found a scrap piece of wood. It measures 9 3/4 in length and 3 inches in width. I'm using a piece of sandpaper to remove any of the rough edges. I thought these tumbling blocks would make nice handles, so I'm going to be using 12 of them. To give my project that industrial feel, I'm going to use this metal organizer with the matching pencil holder. I'm adding a bead accent, so I'm using 20 of the 5/8 inch wooden beads. I'm also using 4 of the 3/4 inch and 4 of the 1 inch. My colors for this project will be white and a medium gray, and I'll also be using some Mod Podge. You'll also need a wooden skewer, a piece of white paper, and some E6000. These little drawers have cutouts, and I'm actually going to be reversing them, and I don't want things to fall out the back. So once I remove the drawer, I'm going to trace around it on my white paper. Once I'm done, I simply cut it out. Make sure it fits in place and it covers the cutout. Then using my Mod Podge and a paintbrush, I glued it into place. Once I was done, I did the same for the 5 remaining drawers. I'm painting all the boxes and the drawers inside and out with my white acrylic paint. These are the colors that I picked for my project, but I think any colors that you use that fits your home decor would look absolutely perfect. All my boxes and drawers are painted, and so now I'm going to paint my wooden block. Before I start painting, I'm using my sandpaper to sand down all the edges and the ends and making sure there are no rough spots. I'm using the same white acrylic paint, and I'm giving it a good coat. For the handles, I'm using 12 of the tumbling blocks. Using my E6000, I'm gluing them together in pairs. Once I'm done, I'm placing a heavy book on top of them, and then I'm letting them set overnight. Once my handles were dry, I used my medium gray acrylic paint, and I gave them all a coat. And while I have my gray paint out, I'm also going to paint my beads. I'm using the 8 larger beads as feet for my organizer and my pencil holder. I slid them on the skewer, and then I painted them with the same gray paint. Once I was done painting the larger beads, I then slipped 20 of the 5/8 inch bead onto a skewer, and I painted them as well. With all our pieces painted and dried, it's now time to put the project together. We're going to add the handles, and I'm reversing all the boxes so that the cutout is in the back. I'm finding the placement for each handle, and then using my E6000, I'm going to glue them into place. It's important to make sure when you're gluing the handles down that they do align perfectly. Putting handles on the next 3 boxes, I'm using one of my originals to get my placement. Once again, I'm adding them with my E6000 and making sure that they all align perfectly. Once the handles have set up, it's now time to glue the boxes onto the wood. I once again used some E6000 and I placed some glue on the bottom of one of the boxes. It doesn't fit exactly perfect, so I made sure that it was centered on the wood, and then I added another box. And this time, not only adding glue at the bottom, but I added some E6000 onto the side, and then I just pressed them together. After my first row was complete, I continued on until all my boxes were added. One of the most important parts when making this project is to be sure that your handles and the boxes all line up with each other. Once I'm done, and to make sure they all dry evenly and in place, I'm just adding a piece of painter's tape to hold them together. I'm using my larger beads as legs for the organizer and the pencil cup. I use my sandpaper to just rough up the 4 edges on the organizer, and this is where I'm going to be gluing my beads. With that complete, I added some E6000 to the bottom of each of the 4 1-inch beads, and then I added them to the organizer. With those in place, I used my sandpaper to rough up a small section on the bottom of the pencil holder. I then glued 4 of my 3/4 inch beads to the bottom. Once I was done, I gave my pieces time with their glue to set up. I'm going to be adding my strip of beads onto the front of the organizer. I'm leaving them on the skewer, so I'm going to use a little bit of my E6000 to attach a few of them together. I want to make sure that I don't get too much glue on my beads, so I opened the end of a paper clip. I then inserted it into my E6000 tube and got just a little bit of glue on it. I dabbed it in between the beads and onto the skewer, and I did this in a few different places. There was just a little bit of skewer sticking out of the end, so I snipped both of those off. I then placed some E6000 along one side of the beads and attached them to the front of the organizer. I used some painter's tape to hold them in place, and then I let them set overnight. Once my E6000 had set up, I then removed the painter's tape. And now once again, I'm going to attach the organizer and the pencil holder with my E6000. I ran a bead of glue on the metal strips on the back of the organizer. And then I positioned it into place and pressed it against the wooden block. I'm doing the same with the pencil holder, but first I'm going to put it in place. I found my contact areas on the boxes and the organizer, and then I used my E6000 and secured it in place. I let my whole project set overnight, and then it was complete. This project was so easy, inexpensive, and fun, and it makes a perfect workstation for my office supplies, and I could also use it in my kitchen. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I hope you had fun, and I always love when we get together. So if you haven't yet subscribed and you think you'd like to come back and hang out with me again, don't forget to click that little red subscribe button below. And hey, even tap on the bell. That will send you a notification every time I upload a new video. I will see you soon. Bye, everybody.